Hello everyone, it's me Sanjay Vasu back again for another video. This time I'm doing it on the Cambridge Lower Secondary Checkpoint for Mathematics Paper 2, October 2023. You may use a calculator since this is Paper 2, and let's start. Question 13. Here are the coordinates of 4 points. Take to show the midpoint of each line segment is above, on, or below the x-axis. Line segment AB. So before we start with the line segments and taking the boxes, let's define the x-axis. The x-axis has all points where y is equal to 0. So, the midpoint of the line segment, if it is on the x-axis, that means y equals 0. And presumably, if it's above the x-axis, y is greater than 0. If it's below the x-axis, y is less than 0. So we don't care what the x value is of all the points. We only take the midpoint of the y values. Now for line AB. So we see that there's minus 6 and the 5. If we take the midpoint, that means we get minus 6 plus 5 divided by 2, which is minus 0.5. This is negative, or it's less than 0. Y is less than 0. Therefore, it is below the x-axis. Now for CD, we have minus 2 and 2 as the y values. So if we add these two and divide by 2, that's the same as taking the average. We get 0. Since y is equal to 0, it is on the x-axis. That's our answer. Question 14. When 80 is increased by 8%, the result is between 105 and 110. A is a multiple of 4. Find the possible value of A. So that means 80 times A by 100 is between 105 and 110. So that means it's less than 110 and greater than 105. So we can write this as 4 by 5A because 80 divided by 100 is 4 by 5. So 4 by 5A is less than 110 and greater than 105. So A, we can multiply both sides by 5 by 4. Over here, will simply be greater than 525 by 4 and it'll be less than 550 by 4. Now we can convert these to decimals. Just get that calculator out. Of course, if you can do it in your head, you can, but I'm just showing you in the calculator so that you don't make any mistakes when you're calculating it. 550 divided by 4, 137.5. Now, we need a multiple of 4. Remember, A is a multiple of 4. So finding a possible value of A in between these, which is a multiple of 4. What's the divisibility test for 4? The last 2 digits of the number are divisible by 4. So if you want to make the last 2 digits divisible by 4, and of course they should not be decimals there, so they should be 132. Because 32 divided by 4 is 8, so it's divisible since it is an integer. Now 132 is possible. There's another value though, 136. 36 also divides by 4 to give 9, so it is a multiple of 4, 136. So that means 132 or 136 have to be the percentage value where we multiply 80 times that percentage to get the value between 105 and 110. Well, that's not all. We can't just write 132 and 136. Yes, I know it's been misleading that I've been writing A over here, but let me just change that real quick. So let's just label all of these as R. I'll tell you why in a second. So if you multiply by R by 100, you will get between 105 and 110. But in the question it says that's increased by 8%. And that means if we increase by 8%, so the value of R is either 132 or 136. We can write that down. R equals 132 or 136. That means A is going to be 100 subtracted from both of these values. It's either 32 or 36. Because if we increase by a certain percentage, we do 80 plus this percentage of 80, or 8% of 80. So we don't want this 80 as well. This is 100%, which is why we're subtracting 100 over here. We don't want this 80 to be included inside the 8%. Therefore, they enter either 32 or 36. You can write in the blank. I'm writing 32, you can write 36 as well. That's our answer. Question 15. The grid shows the positions of triangle P and triangle Q. A. Describe fully the single transformation that maps triangle P onto triangle Q. We can see that triangle P and Q have different orientations. Therefore, we clearly know that this is a rotation. Now, as for the angle, we can see that if we go from P to Q, the direction, which I'm showing the arrow, already shows the rotation direction, that is anti-clockwise. And the angle can be found by seeing one of the sides. So if we see this side and its corresponding side here is this one, it's rotated by 90 degrees in that direction of the arrow, anti-clockwise. Therefore, it's 90 degrees anti-clockwise. And now the center of rotation is actually 5, 7, because we can see that the points are equally spaced from this point. So this distance and this distance is the same and they form a right angle. And if we do that for this distance and this distance are the same, they form a right angle. This one and this one are the same and they form a right angle. Why right angle? Because 90 degrees is the rotation. So the center is simply 5, 7. That's the answer. B. Triangle R is congruent to triangle P. Triangle R maps onto itself when it's reflected in the line y equals x. Draw a possible position for triangle R on the grid. So first let's draw the line y equals x for good reference. So this is y equals x. And now triangle R is congruent to triangle P. That means it has the same shape, same size, only the orientation and the flip state can be different. What do I mean by flip state? You could have flipped the triangle like this, it's still congruent, right? It's still the same shape, just flipped. So that's what I mean. It doesn't matter if it's flipped or not, and it doesn't matter if it's moved, like translated or rotated anyway, and therefore it'll be congruent. And triangle R maps onto itself when it's reflected in this line. That means, indirectly, that this is the line of symmetry for triangle R, meaning that triangle R has to have its two sides extending out something like this, both of 3 units, and the diagonal over here. Let me just put the point exactly there. So diagonal has to pass through the line y equals x as a perpendicular bisector. So y equals x passes through this line and bisects it at a 90-degree angle. In other words, this is the perpendicular bisector for the diagonal of triangle R. And now the other two sides are extending out like this. From the diagonal, they go horizontally towards the line and vertically towards the line. They meet at a corner which is placed on the line y equals x. And this also can be done like this. This is also a position. And it doesn't matter where you place triangle R, if it's here, or if it's all the way in this corner up here, or if it's all the way down here, it doesn't matter, as long as it follows these two instructions. I'll remove the line y equals x that was just drawn for reference, and that'll be our answer. Let's go to question 16. The diagram shows two circles, each with center O. So the circumference of the larger circle is approximately 44 centimeters more than the circumference of the smaller circle. So the radius of the larger circle is 11 plus 7, which is 18 centimeters. Now the circumference of the larger circle is going to be 2 pi r, which is equal to 2 pi times 18. That's 36 pi, or let's get a calculator out. 36 times pi to get 113.097 centimeters. And now for the smaller circle, or the inner circle here, the radius is 11 centimeters. So now 2 pi r for the smaller circle is going to be 2 pi times 11, which is equal to 22 times pi to get 69.115 centimeters. Now the difference is going to be 113.097 minus 69.115, and that's 43.982. which is approximately 44 centimeters difference. And that is proven since we are asked to show that the circumference of the larger circle is approximately 44 centimeters more. Oh yeah, I forgot to write that if you subtract this, 113.097 minus 69.115. Writing this is important because we need to know which you're subtracting from which. Because if you subtract smaller minus larger, you'll get the negative value, which is not what we want. We want a positive value to show that it is larger. That's our answer. Question 17. The table shows information about the ages of 100 runners. Calculate an estimate of the mean age. The mean age can be calculated by first finding the midpoint of the classes. So you have 25, 35, 45, and 55. So the mean is going to be 25 times 34 plus 35 times 18 plus 45 times 28 plus 55 times 20 divided by the total frequency 100. Well, where did I get these values from? They are the frequencies corresponding to the midpoint which is given. And why are we taking the midpoints and not the end values? Because we need the best possible estimate of the mean, and we don't know the exact value, so taking the midpoint is the best estimate. It's the closest to all other values on average inside this range. So therefore, let's get a calculator out. Just do the calculation right here. 25 times 34, 850, plus 35 times 18, plus 45 times 28, plus 55 times 20, divided by 100, which is 38.4 years. That's our answer. Now let's go to question 18. A teacher asked 3 students to shape the equations of 2 lines with a positive gradient. Tick to show if each student's answer is correct. 10. Y equals x plus 8 and y equals 2x minus 3. So we can see that the coefficient of x over here is 1, that's positive. The coefficient of x here is 2, that's also positive. So both gradients are positive, that's correct. How am I saying this? The general formula for a line is y equals mx plus c. And in this case, m is the gradient which we need to have positive, and that's the coefficient of x. If the coefficient of x is both positive, then the answer is correct. Now for Eva, the coefficient of x is negative 1. There's already negative, so our answer is wrong. And therefore we don't tick this. And either way, this one also is wrong since it is a minus 2 gradient. Now for Lily, y equals 3x and y equals half x. Well, both of these have the m value of 3 and half respectively, and they both are positive. Therefore, it is correct answer. Let's go to question 19. A shape is formed from a right angle triangle ABC and a semicircle with diameters AB. AC equals CB, which is 6 centimeters over here. A, find the area of the whole shape. So let's say we have a midpoint O of CB. And CB is the diameter, so the midpoint is the center of the semicircle. Or if you made this a full circle, this O will be the center of the circle. If the diameter is 6 centimeters, that means the radius OC is 3 centimeters. Because diameter divided by 2 is radius. So the area is going to be the area of the triangle, which is half times base times height, plus half times pi r squared, or in other words, half times the area of the circle. That'll be the area of the semicircle. And let's write this. Half times 6 plus half times pi times 3 squared. And let's just use our calculator to do this. Half times 6 is 18, plus half times 3 squared, which is 4.5 times pi. So we get 32.137. And we can write this as 32.1 to 3 significant figures. And of course, this is in centimeters squared. That's our answer. Let's go to part B, calculate the length of AB. So we can use Pythagoras theorem since this is a right angle here. And we have a triangle with AB as the hypotenuse. So AC squared plus CB squared equals AB squared. That's the Pythagoras theorem. The sum of the squares of the two short sides of the triangle is equal to the hypotenuse of a triangle squared, given that the triangle is right angled, and in this case it is. So that means 6 squared plus 6 squared equals AB squared. And 6 squared plus 6 squared is 36 plus 36, which is 72. So AB is the square root of 72, which is, getting our calculator out, let's just do that right there, 8.485, which is 8.49 centimeters to 3 significant figures. You'll notice I like writing my answers to 3 significant figures, and this is a good practice considering that in IGCSE, which is 9th grade and 10th grade, you will need to write your answers to 3 significant figures if they are not exact, like this one. It's a good practice to have, so I'm using it. That's the answer. Question 20. Anastasia asked the audience of a film they liked it or did not like it. The compound bar chart shows the results. Showed that 30% of the people in the audience did not like the film. So let's count the number who did not like in both adults and children. So did not like in adults is 95, which is the top of the bar, minus 65, the bottom of the bar. 95 minus 65, which is 30. Now didn't like for the children is simply the top of the bar, which is 55, minus the bottom of the bar, which is 40, which is 15. Yeah, I'll just write the steps over there. 55 minus 40, 15. Now, the total number of people, or number of audience, is going to be 95, which is the height of the total who were adults, plus 55, which is the height of the total who were children. That's simply 150. So we get 30 plus 15 by 150 times 100% to convert to percentage. That's simply 45 divided by 150 times 100. We can cancel out this and we get 1.5. 45 by 1.5 is 30. So it's 30% who did not like the film. Proven. And by the way, this is 30% of all the audience who did not like it. That's our answer. Question 21. A. The distance between two cities is 17,000 kilometers, correctly nearest 1,000. Complete the inequality to show the limits of the distance. 16,500 kilometers less than equal to the distance less than dash. Well, if it's to the nearest 1,000, we divide by 2 to get 500 kilometers. Now the limits are going to be 17,000 minus 500, which is all we given. And then 17,000 plus 500, which is what we need to write. The upper limit, 17,500. That's our answer. B. The mass of a bag is 1 kilogram corrected 2 decimal places. Find the lower limit of the mass. Well, 2 decimal places is the same thing as correct to the nearest 0.01. Right? So, dividing by 2, we get 0.005. And the lower limit is going to be 1.00 minus 0.005. And that's simply going to be 0.995 kilograms. Question 22. A solid cylinder has a height 18 centimeters. The curved surface area is 845 centimeters squared. Find the area of the top of the cylinder. To find the area of the top, first we need to find the radius of the cylinder. So the curved surface area is going to be 2 pi r h, and that's 845. And in this case, 2 pi r times 18, which is the height, that's 845. So r is going to be 845 by 36 pi, which is, getting our calculator out, divide by 36, and now divide by pi to get 7.471 ... I'm writing the 3 decimal places because we haven't finished the answer yet. So now we know the radius, which is 7.471. And the area of the top of the cylinder, that's going to be pi r squared, which is the area of a circle basically. And this is the radius, which is 7.471. And therefore, we get that as this value, which is on the calculator, square it, multiply by pi to get pi times 7.471 squared, which is 175.37 centimeters squared. Well, that's our answer. Let's go to question 23. Find the values of the integers a and b when x minus 5 times x plus 5 plus ax equals x minus 3 times x plus 12 plus b. So let's expand both sides. X squared minus 25 plus ax equals x squared plus 9x minus 36 plus b. This one is in the form of a plus b times a minus b. Therefore, it's easy to write this as a squared minus b squared. Now, this is not in such a form. So if now we expand this manually, you'll get x squared minus 3x plus 12x minus 36. And this becomes 9x, so we write that over here. Now, how do we find what a and b are? First, we can cancel out the x squareds because they are present on both sides of the equation. Now, let's bring all the unknown terms to one side and the known terms to the other side. That means minus 9x plus 11 equals minus ax plus b, because we bring 9x and 36 here. So that's minus 9x minus 25 plus 36. This becomes plus 11. And plus ax becomes minus ax when you bring it here. So now let's say that we are equating coefficients of x and we're equating the constants. So minus 9 can be equal to minus a. And then we can write 11 is equal to positive b. That means, let's just write this equating here and equating these two as well. So minus 9 equals minus a equals 9, and then b equals 11. That's our answer. Question 24. Rajiv has a bag containing only red canners and blue canners. Safi has a different bag containing only red and blue canners as well. They each take one canner at random from their bag. The probability that Rajiv picks a red canner from his bag is 0.6. The probability that they both pick a red canner is 0.18. Find the probability that they both pick a blue canner. You may use a tree diagram to help you. So the probability that both are red is 0.18, and we already know the probability that Rajiv is red. So Safia's canner has to have a probability of 0.18 divided by 0.6, which is 0.3 to be red. Now we can fill in the rest, like this. How? Well, the 0.3 here has to come here because Safia's bag is the same no matter what happens to Rajiv's bag. They are independent events, which means if Rajiv gets a red or blue, it does not matter. Safia's probabilities still remain the same. Now we get this by doing 1 minus 0.6, which is 0.4. We get these 1 minus 0.3, 0.7. Therefore, the probability that they both pick a blue counter is going to be equal to 0.4 times 0.7, because both of them have to pick blue. Therefore, that's simply going to be 0.28. That's our final answer. And yes, that's our final answer for the whole paper as well, which means I've come to the end. Please like this video, subscribe to our channel, share this video with your friends and family, and comment on how you think this video was. With that, it's me, Sanjay Vasu, signing out. Thank you. Bye.